Hi everyone, my name is Laura, for those of you that don't know me, and I am a first-time mom to Enzo. Insert Enzo. And a disclaimer before this video gets started, I've never done this before. I am not a vlogger. I don't even really know if anybody cares what I have to say. So if I also need to stop this video because of Enzo, bear with me. I kept trying to find the perfect time to start this because I wanted it to be good and I wanted people to enjoy it and I wanted to have the time to really go through everything and to explain why I'm doing this and the process we've been through already. But with a 1-month-old, there's never a perfect time. There's always a nap time that we are overdue for, or a feed that needs to happen right now, or cuddles that should have been given 5 minutes ago. So we are doing all of that right now, and I wanted to go ahead and get this started because this first month has passed just so fast that if I don't do it now, I don't know if it will ever get done. And that light should change. The sun is setting here, so it's a little bit bright. However, the reason I'm doing this video is because our son Enzo was born on September 9th, 2020 at 6:37 p.m. and he was born with bilateral clubfoot. And when we found out that he had clubfoot, that he was going to be a clubfoot baby, I was at my anatomy scan actually by myself because thank you coronavirus and America that can't get their shit together to eradicate this disease. So I was at this appointment by myself to do the anatomy scan, and the doctor dropped the bomb like he was giving me his fast food order. He was like, by the way, he has bilateral clubfoot. He has it on both legs. We'll see you in 12 weeks to confirm. And I know that a lot of you watching this might not know me, but that's absolutely not going to work. So I was there by myself. My husband Chad was on FaceTime. And as the days progressed, the only way that I was able to get any information was basically by reading medical journals. There was not really any information out there from like mom perspectives, like in regular human terms. Like, I'm a new mom, I am pregnant for the first time, I just got this bomb dropped on me, and I don't really have the patience to read medical journals right now. I want to know, how hard is this going to be, and is he in pain, and can it be fixed, and does it last a lifetime, and all of those questions. Medical journals don't explain that stuff. So what I wanted to do is take time to document this journey really from our perspective. It's a double-edged sword because Enzo, by the time he's old enough to remember what's going on, everything will be corrected. And so I want to be careful to not explain the journey from his perspective or to take over his story. But at the same time, he's probably not really going to remember it. So this series of videos, I don't know how much I'll keep up with it. If you like this stuff and if this was in any way entertaining for you or informative or useful or made you not pull your hair out a little bit less, tell me so that I might keep up with it a little bit more. But this is going to be not only about clubfoot, but also about being a first-time mom and the real shit that goes on, at least for me. I am like an information junkie. I want to know everything about everything, 110% of every possible piece of information I want to know. And I think that it just helps me prepare mentally for things. I'm like this for work. I'm like this when I hear drama or gossip. So when it comes to my kid, it was over the top. So all that being said, all of the videos that I watched, like preparing for labor and preparing for motherhood, like, they were like the most perfect scenarios and situations. Like, yeah, people had to go through COVID, but like, these moms had their shit together. They had it together. And I kind of do, but I also have this black cloud that seems to follow me all the time. And like, everything that can go wrong literally will go wrong. And my mom always laughs at me because she's like, you need to write this stuff down. You need to document it somehow, because she tries to tell her friends that I have this black cloud that follows me. And they're like, well, give me an example. And she's like, I don't know, just the craziest shit happens to her. And she's just so positive about it. So this channel will be a little bit about that as well. But what I want to focus on for this video is to really document what we went through for my labor, his delivery, his birth, and where we're at right now and what is next. So he is the cutest baby in the entire world. I was really nervous I was gonna have an ugly baby and that people were gonna have to lie to me. You know how you see those babies and you're like, oh, he's so cute, but you're like, he's not actually. I was so worried people were gonna have to lie to me, but he's really cute. So quick run through. Told you he has Clubfoot. More on that later. I'll do a whole another video because I kind of want my husband to be involved in that video. However, as far as the labor and delivery portion, so I went into labor, and like, some moms videoed the whole thing, and I really liked watching like what happened and like how much pain they were in during labor. I gotta tell you, I'm really sorry I didn't have my shit together enough to do that. I barely remembered like that I was a person during this. It was the most insane experience. So I don't have any of that. You're gonna have to listen to me talk if you really even care what happened. So sorry. But really kind of like cutting to the chase, on the 9th of September at like 2 a.m. I went into labor, and my labor happened really, really quickly. I had 2 contractions that were 6 minutes apart, and then 2 contractions that were 10 minutes apart. Reverse those, 10 minutes, then 6 minutes. And then from then on, they were all 2 to 3 minutes apart for the next 17 hours, which I know is not that long compared to what other women go through. And it didn't really even feel that long in hindsight, because when you're like jumping from 2 to 3 minutes between like the most excruciating pain you've ever been in, it does pass pretty quickly. So labor happened pretty quickly. It just so happened that I happened to have a doctor's appointment that morning with my midwife, and I delivered at Cleveland Clinic. So I chose not to have an OB and deliver on like, I don't know, like the medical floor. I chose the interim choice where you could give birth on the natural family floor, natural labor delivery floor. Basically, their pain meds is nitrous oxide, which, let me tell you, if somebody ever tells you that that's a form of pain management, it is not. It works for like the first like 5 inhales. And if you've ever smoked hookah, like, I don't smoke weed or cigarettes, but like I smoke hookah every once in a while. Not now, but like before I was pregnant. And if you've ever gotten that high from like smoking hookah, that's what this feels like, but only for like 4 or 5 breaths. And then the shit is done. Like, you're used to it, doesn't work. And I think it was just like a placebo effect. They're like, you'll be fine, just breathe some nitrous oxide. No, it did not work. However, that was the pain management, and I could have opted for an epidural, and they would have wheeled me to another floor and administered the epidural. But by the time I was in that much pain, the only thing running through my head was, oh my God, like an epidural could make this go so much longer. And like, he could be here within an hour, or if I did an epidural, it could potentially like slow labor again, or slow labor period. And then like, it starts the whole labor cycle, right? You got the epidural, your labor slows, then they give you Pitocin, which makes the contractions faster and more painful. But then you have the epidural, and like, then the baby's in distress, and you're not progressing far enough or fast enough. And then they say, okay, well, it's time for a C-section. You're in distress. The baby's in distress. And I just didn't really want to go down that route, which is why we opted for the midwife thing anyways. So that's what we did. But what's critical for this story is to tell you that we did give birth in a hospital. My husband, Chad, his daughter was delivered at home. He has a daughter and a son from a previous marriage. And Logan, his son, was delivered via C-section, just like emergency C-section. But Bella, his daughter, was delivered via home birth. No, we are not doing home birth. That is a little house on the prairie for me. We're not doing that. So that's why this was like a happy medium type of thing. We have a midwife, but we're still in a hospital in case I like almost die. There's still things to help make sure that doesn't happen. Well, I had a really good pregnancy, and I think that spoiled me a little bit. I was like, oh, like labor might be okay. Pregnancy has been fine, so like maybe labor will be good too. Not really the case. Labor was fine. It was painful, but it was fine. It was doable. But like, I had such bad butt pain. Like, they say like back labor and like butt labor is a thing sometimes. Enzo was not in the wrong position. He was not positioned sunny side up or whatever. He was not. He was in the normal head down, face down position. And I literally thought my butthole was ripping in half. It was so painful from like, but like some women don't experience that. Like I had no pain from like a uterus perspective, and like my belly, my vagina, like that was not painful. My butt felt like I was pooping a watermelon. And they had like a bathtub, and so I tried to get in the bathtub, and the only situation or the only position that I felt comfortable in at all, where I wasn't like screaming, was on all fours. So even in the bathtub, like I couldn't lay back. Like those moms that labor on their back, power to you. I have no idea how you do that. I could not. So first piece of advice is make sure you find a provider that will let you birth how you want. Shout out to Cleveland Clinic. They were awesome. And my midwife, Cassie, incredible. She wasn't who delivered, but she helped me through all 9 months. So, hi. All you see is like this little fist. So when delivery actually happened was pretty quick. I only pushed for probably 30 minutes. So that happened pretty fast. And literally as soon as his head popped out, the rest of his body shot out. It was like a baby slip and slide. And Chad was gonna try to catch him because like I guess that's a thing for dads. Like, do you want to catch your baby? Yeah. He was gonna try, but like Enzo shot out so fast he couldn't even catch him. So we did skin to skin right away, and this is kind of where everything tumbles downhill. Because he was delivered so quickly, and like through the delivery process, it's supposed to squeeze all of the fluids out of his lungs and nose and all of that stuff. And his delivery was so fast. He had a lot of trouble breathing when he was first born. And so they brought him to me and we did skin to skin right away. But he was retracting, which I now know what that means. You can see the skin sinking in to his ribs as he struggles to breathe. Hi. And he just really struggled for probably the first hour to 2 hours. I can't remember how long we tried to do skin to skin for. But he really struggled breathing. I tried to ask the nurse, like, is this normal? They said, yeah. But really, as everything progressed, they said, no, it's not. He should be clear by now. So they had the pediatrician come upstairs to our room, and they determined that he needed to go to the NICU. And God, it's like every parent's worst nightmare. Like, you imagine yourself rooming with your baby and taking all of those cute pictures. We had the outfits, and we, you know, wanted to have the normal experience of waking up in the middle of the night with him for the first time, and waking up and just to stare at him at 3 a.m. if we wanted to. And we didn't get that. And there are a lot of parents, excuse me, cat, this is James. There are a lot of parents that I do want to say have it much worse than we did. Every parent unit has their own situation, their own struggles, their own feelings. This is ours, and these are our experiences and feelings, and it is not in any way meant to diminish others. Being a parent, you need to be a superhero. So, moving on with our story, Enzo was taken to the NICU. James, can you get down? Enzo was taken to the NICU, and he was put on a CPAP machine to make sure that he was oxygenating well enough, because his pulse ox levels were really low. He stayed there for the first night, and they gave us hope. They were like, well, usually this happens and it clears within the first 24 hours, and you should be able to go home, but we'll run some tests and we'll let you know. That didn't happen. When they did their additional tests, they did a blood test, and they found out that he had an increased white blood cell count, which, for those of you that don't know, that means he's fighting some type of infection. So they started him on a course of antibiotics. Hi. The antibiotics he was on was, where did your pacifier go? Oh, was ampicillin and gentamicin, which brings with them a whole other host of issues. And we now have to track for hearing loss up until he's 2 years old. Great. Anyways, so white blood cell count was high, and that can be related to stress from delivery. My white blood cell count was high as well. However, mine decreased the second day, his increased, which showed that he was fighting some type of infection. By the end of all of this, he was in the NICU for 5 days. This kid had 29 tests run on him, and those are everything from blood draws, heel sticks, and G-tube insertions. He had a spinal tap done to check for meningitis. He was on the 2 antibiotics. He was put on an antiviral medication in case the issue wasn't bacterial. And at the end of all of this, they couldn't find anything, which is great, is amazing, also incredibly stressful. The amount of emotional toll that this takes on you, seeing your kid hooked up to every machine possible in his isolette, it's really tough. And so when we entered this journey of pregnancy and having this baby, we were worried about his feet and what Clubfoot meant for us and all of the issues that we would have to encounter with that. And now we're going through the whole experience with the NICU, and it gives you an interesting perspective on what's important and how much stress you can handle. I think my tolerance for stress has increased so much over this past year. 2020 in general has been an absolute shit show. And I can't believe that we're still in 2020 and that it hasn't gotten better. So got through the NICU. The big thing that happened with us at the end was they went to discharge us. He was born on the 9th, on the 14th. They went to discharge us. We went through discharge 4 times in the same day because they kept finding other issues and other problems. Ohio, we live in Cleveland. Ohio does a newborn screening test, which I guess every state does. I don't know. I live in Ohio, so I only know about ours. But if you're curious, Google it. Ohio newborn screening test. It's insane. It tests for like 200 genetic diseases and issues that your baby could possibly have. Well, as we were putting him in his car seat and we were getting ready to leave for the 3rd time, we had the discharge papers in our hand. We're ready to go. And the doctor comes around the corner and says, I'm so sorry. But Enzo's newborn screening test has come back and he's screened positive for something called 17-hydroxyprogesterone or 17-OHP. So this is like more of that black cloud thing, right? Like whatever can go wrong seems to, and we just have to roll with it and figure it out. So Clubfoot, issues breathing, spinal taps. Anyways, now we have 17-OHP. And as I start Googling, and there's even less information about 17-OHP. And you, again, have to read medical journals and medical articles. And from like, literally from what I could gather, it's an issue with a baby's adrenal gland and their ability to produce cortisol as a stress response is impacted. And it's worse for girls because it, like, the presentation of this causes enlarged male genitalia. and I don't mean to laugh. It's not funny. As we're trying to figure this out though, I had to honestly just ask the doctor, like, are we really at the end of the day worried about him having a big penis? Like, is that what this is? Is that where we're at right now? Or like, what is the actual, like, what's worst case scenario? What does this mean? What is this? And for the most part, they really tried to downplay it. They said, we're gonna send away like the actual test because this one was just the screening, that he could possibly have it, not the actual test to confirm. So we're gonna send away for the 5-day test and we'll let you know. Cool. So numb at this point, get him loaded up. He's in his going home outfit, poops all over that. Thank God I had something else packed. Redress him, put him back in the car seat, and she comes around the corner again and she says, we actually need to do more tests. You can't go home yet. Instead of the 5-day test that we pulled for an hour ago, we're actually going to do a rapid test where we'll get the results back tomorrow. So at this point, we're like starting to get pissed because at this point, Enzo's veins and his veins in literally every part of his body, in his feet, in his legs, in his arms, in his hands, they're blown. They're blown. They cannot take any more blood. They tried to do an umbilical port on him the day before. The umbilical port failed. And he had just like been put through it. Guys, when I tell you this kid is such a freaking champion, he would get heel sticks and he would get stuck with needles for an IV draw and he wouldn't even cry. It was so heartbreaking at that point because he just thought that this was normal life. Like, he was born and then there's pain and that's it. There's just pain. So they said, we're going to do this rapid test. We're going to draw blood one more time. And at this point, we had to leave. We had to take a walk. They draw everything. Fast forward a couple of days, we still don't hear back from the endocrinologist. Turns out that they sent this rapid test off in the wrong damn colored tubes. Like the vials, like the mint green tops or the lavender tops or the gold tops. They sent the wrong effing color. So the lab couldn't even test it. So we had to wait the 5 days anyways. They call, he's negative again. So 30 tests later, he's perfectly healthy. Still waiting on that bill. I'm sure it will be a doozy. Thank God for insurance. So that was Enzo's entrance into the world. So we got to come home that day. My parents got to meet him. Bella and Logan got to meet him. Everything has been amazing since then. He's eating like a champ. He was born at 6 pounds, 12.5 ounces. And now he's 7 pounds, 11 ounces. And he just hit a month. So he's doing amazing. He's breastfeeding during the day. We're still bottle feeding during the night. Because if he breastfeeds, he wants to snack every 20 minutes. And Mama needs to try to get some sleep. So he's doing really, really well. And now we tackle the next issue, which is his club feet. So today is Tuesday. Yeah, today is Tuesday. So we have tomorrow. Thursday, he gets casted for the first time. And so let me run through what that treatment looks like for those of you that didn't give a crap about his birth story and that are just tuning in now at 26 minutes. Clubfoot treatment for Enzo. He has bilateral clubfoot, which means both of his feet are turned in. I am not a doctor, I am not a nurse, I am not a physician, I am not an expert on this. So if I say something wrong, please do not crucify me, do not come for me, educate me, and be nice to me about it, please. We're all kind of fighting this together, trying to figure it out. The moms that I've been in contact with are amazing, and we're all just trying to figure this crazy journey out for all of our babies. So that being said, that I'm not a doctor, I'm going to try to explain to you what clubfoot is and why it happens. Nobody knows why it happens. It can be genetic or it could be idiopathic, which means there is no cause. It's just like a freak thing that can happen. From my research and my knowledge, it is caused by the Achilles tendon being too short and not lengthening the correct way. So as the baby's foot grows, instead of it growing straight like this and being able to flex up and down like this, right, and turn in and turn out, it kind of curves in, right? So like the tendon is short and it kind of like contracts everything like up. Both of his feet are like that. Do you want to show? Do you want to show? I think people want to see. While I finagle him around. Okay. Okay. He's so comfy. Okay, here. No, you don't want that? Okay. I know. He's such a sweet boy. So these are his little feet. It's just red because he's been sleeping. But see how his feet curve in? And when he pulls them up to his body, they just fit so perfectly. That's how he was in the womb. Huh. Yeah, so comfy. And so Enzo's feet are actually really flexible. The physical therapist at the hospital helped us. And if I had both hands, his feet actually do flex almost back to a neutral position if you take the time to do it. But we do not anymore because our orthopedic surgeon has advised us not to and explained that casting will do everything that we need it to. So the treatment for clubfoot, this happens in about 1 in 1,000 babies. hi, do you want this back? 1 in 1,000 babies, and it's more common in boys. Happens about a 2-to-1 ratio of boys to girls. Unless it is common in your family, somebody in your family has it, there is no rhyme or reason as to why babies get it other than if you have a family history of it. And we kind of do, but it's like so distant. It's like 3rd and 4th cousins on my side only. And we didn't even know that until we started telling people he has clubfoot, and people were like, oh yeah, I did too, or oh yeah, my son did too. And we had no idea until we were vocal about it, which is really interesting. So the treatment for clubfoot is he undergoes serial casting. So they're going to be full leg casts that go from his toe all the way up to the top of his thigh. And it's going to be both legs, obviously, because both of his feet are clubbed. And the cast will get changed out every week. They get changed out every week on Thursdays for us. We are seeing Dr. Adamczyk at Akron Children's Hospital. And they get changed out every Thursday, and each week the foot gets stretched further and further until it's actually overcorrected. And at that point, they go into a bracing situation where they will be braced in he will be braced in something called boots and bar. So he will wear these little boots. They look like little space boots, and they are turned out at usually a 60-degree angle. And each foot is connected by a bar in the middle, right, to hold everything out. Their feet are like this, connected by a bar in the middle. And the treatment usually goes until they are 4 years old. However, once the casts stop, which those are anywhere from like 4 to 8 casts usually, sometimes can be less, sometimes can be more. Then they have to do something called a tenotomy, which is where they actually clip the Achilles tendon to lengthen it. Not all babies need this. Some do not. But they will clip the Achilles tendon to allow it to lengthen, which is the whole cause of this, right? It's a short tendon, so they want to lengthen it. And then he's in that cast. After the tenotomy, he's in that cast for 3 weeks, the same cast. It doesn't get swapped out. After that's taken off, then the bracing happens. He's in boots and bar for 23 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so we got an hour free time for like bath time or stretches or kisses, things like that. And that usually lasts for like 3 months, I think. After that, it goes to 12-hour wear, typically, where he will only have to wear his braces at night and during nap time. And he has to do that until he's usually 4 years old. So it's not the quickest fix ever, but also in the grand scheme of things, it's not forever. And the success rate on fixing this is usually pretty good if you have the right doctor. Ours is, he comes highly recommended. If you are a clubfoot mama and you do not know how to find a doctor, message me, comment on this, get a hold of me somehow. Laura Figueredo on Facebook, FIGUERADO. Instagram, I'm at stuff.laura.does. I am happy to help you. There is a red light, green light doctor list of all of these mamas that have come together and given reviews on these clubfoot doctors. Treatment can go south pretty quickly if the doctor does not know what they're doing. You're screwing with ligaments and tendons and bones and fragile little baby feet. You want to make sure you have a good doctor. You want to make sure your doctor knows what the hell he's doing or she's doing. There's a lot of people that deal with what It's called a complex clubfoot because treatment was not done correctly first, and their condition has actually been made worse. So I'm happy to help you. I also, me and my husband, like I said, I'm an information and like knowledge junkie, right? We interviewed like two doctors. Cleveland Clinic recommended one. I won't put him on blast on here. If you're interested in who it is, feel free to message me. I will help you. I will tell you. But we did not feel comfortable with Cleveland Clinic's recommendation. Cleveland Clinic has been amazing for me and for Enzo's treatment in the NICU. The doctor that they recommended does not specialize in clubfoot. And I don't want him to fuck with my baby's feet if he doesn't know what he's doing and if he doesn't come highly recommended. So in order to determine which doctor we were going with, I have an Excel spreadsheet of 67 questions that I grilled the doctors about. It was like a job interview. So I'm happy to share that with you. If you want it, please message me and I'm happy to help. Like I said, let me know if this is helpful. I also have a blog that I kept track specifically more during my pregnancy. I haven't updated it now that now that Enzo's here, because coffee and sleep are more important than typing on a computer for an hour. But the blog has a lot of information about like our experience in finding out about clubfoot and what we went through and what the process is to treat it. Again, if you want to see it written down. I also think I have some resources linked there to help mamas as well. That blog is fortheloveofblueberry.com because we called him Blueberry before we knew that he was Enzo. It's not www. It's just for the love of blueberry. Or no, just kidding. Loveofblueberry.com. No www. Loveofblueberry.com. And it will take you there. Let me know if this is helpful. Like I said, we have tomorrow free. We are going to do some pictures of his little feet. We're going to give lots of kisses and enjoy him being free and uninhibited while we can. And then Thursday, we will go and get casted. I will try and vlog. I will try and document it. If not for nothing else, just for us and our purposes, for Enzo when he gets older and wants to see what happened and what everything looks like and what he went through to help him make sense of everything. And that's pretty much it. That's where we're at. We have a very, very healthy 1-month-old. He was born a little early. He was born at 38 weeks and 5 days. So I don't know gestational age. I guess he's a little bit younger, but he's been with us for a month. The only other thing about our specific situation is they were recommending us to wait for 3 months to start the casting process because of COVID. I guess his immune system is much, much stronger at 3 months, and Dr. Adamczyk casts a lot of babies. Like, he has a casting clinic day where he does like dozens and dozens of babies. So there's a lot of traffic. So I hear, we obviously haven't been through it. When we called after he was born, though, we found out that they lifted that restriction, which we're thankful for, or I'm thankful for at least. I think Chad is too. But if we had to wait the 3 months, that means we would be starting casting the same exact week I go back to work. And I know my limits, and I just think that would be really, really, really hard. So thankfully, we are starting tomorrow, Thursday. It's the 15th of October, and I don't go back to work until December 3rd. It's supposed to be my first day back. So if you have questions about anything that I didn't cover, really about anything, about NICU stuff, about labor, about delivery. I'm gonna post some like funnier stuff later because there's definitely been some entertaining points. The next one that I'm gonna do is about the damn hospital bag that all of these moms freak out about. I won't spoil it, but it's a funny situation, funny story. So that will probably be next or coming up soon. Casting might be next. So we'll figure that out and see how much time I have and how much energy I have. Right, James? Yeah? Okay. Well, we're gonna go. Comment, let me know if this was entertaining. Like I said, I'm not a vlogger. I don't ever do this. Got a phone call. Like I said, I'm not a vlogger, but I'm happy to continue helping if it's useful or entertaining for people to figure out what we're going through. Okay, say bye, Zozo. Bye, everyone. See you later.